Good evening. We'll give everybody just a minute before I get started. I appreciate anybody following along. I appreciate all the support, all the comments, people who have shared. Today's day 15 of 28 vegans. I'm already over halfway through this series that I wanted to create to highlight some of my favorite vegans. And I don't mean favorite by those who do the most, but those who have impacted my journey, influenced me, that continue to bring something to Becky and I's journey. I wanted to bring on some folks that are some close friends of ours. I wanted to bring on some folks that just purely inspire me. I wanted to bring on some guys who hopefully will encourage other men to look at things differently. It's amazing when you make that transition, you make that connection. So hopefully some of the men that I have on will help. Like tomorrow I have Dustin Watton on. He is a member of the USA men's volleyball team. He is currently playing in Berlin. So tomorrow at 2:30 my time, 6:30 Berlin time, he's going to join my live feed, and hopefully we can have a good conversation and inspire some men to wake up. But tonight I have one of our dear friends on from the Gentle Barn. Angie is a volunteer there. Her and her husband Dave volunteer, and I really appreciate her passion. I really appreciate her support, and I wanted to have her come on tonight and share a little bit of her story, share a message that she wants to share, and hopefully, something she says will reach someone, help them make that connection, and we can make some good things happen in this world. So let me bring Angie on here. Give me just a second here. Angie. It's always that moment where you're waiting. You're like, is this going to work? Or it's like, today going to be the day. You can do it. Come on. Technology is wonderful when it works, and I work in IT, so it's one of those things. It's wonderful when it works. When it doesn't, it's painful. So Instagram is saying, waiting on Angie. She sent the invite. I sent the response to bring her in. So let me see if I can cancel this and resend it maybe. Cancel. Who's on? Angie. Angie, I see that you're on. You should have a little option down there that comes up, and now it's inviting you to join me versus the other way around. You did what you were supposed to do, but for some reason Instagram's not playing nice tonight. If it's not letting you join, go ahead and, I guess, disconnect from the live feed and come back in and try again. I'm going to cancel that request. Man. There's a request. Add. Let's see what we get this time. It's Friday. It's been a long week. What are you supposed to do, right? We had issues with Alec on Wednesday. His phone died completely. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Hey, a big shout out to your readers today, by the way. Becky and I were at Kroger this weekend, and I bought a pair. So don't feel bad. All right. Well, this is clearly not working as planned, but Angie, do me a favor. Go ahead and drop off the live feed and then come back in. And if it doesn't work, what I will do is I'll drop off and start a brand new live feed. And maybe between the two of us, we can make that work. So how's everybody else doing tonight? See, my beautiful wife is watching while she's trying to corral children inside. She said it's stressful because she wants to keep them quiet, but there are a bunch of them, and sometimes that can be difficult. So she's done a wonderful job, and I appreciate it. I know it's a pain in the butt when I have to tell the house to be quiet because I'm trying to do something, but she's done a wonderful job for me for that. Let's see if I can't see that face. I need my readers. Is that a frowny face? Dun-dun-dun-dun. Might not be the night, but we can stop this and try it again. I see that Angie's still on. I'm going to try to add her again. See if this works. If it doesn't work, I will stop the live feed. I'll restart my Instagram, and then we'll try it once again. All right, so no bueno. All right, so you guys bear with me. Thanks for the patience. I'm going to go ahead and drop my live feed, and if you guys want to see what Angie has to say, if we can get her on here, come right back to us. Give me just a minute. I'll be right back. All right, so welcome back. Today's day 15 again. We're going to try this again and see what we get. You know, sometimes technology is favorable. Sometimes it doesn't work out the way you planned, and you just got to roll with it. So we're going to bring Angie on tonight. She's one of our friends who's a volunteer at the Gentle Barn, and we really appreciate all that she does and all she brings to the movement. So welcome back, Jennifer. Welcome back, Becky Joe and Java Bean 47. So first off, I thank everyone for their support. I appreciate everyone's patience, and it's been a lot of fun doing this. I've enjoyed some of the incredible conversations I've had with people, and I really appreciate the insight that different people bring and the power of their own stories and how it affects everyone else. All right, so Angie sent me a request again, which she did the first time. Let's see if this works this time. Maybe. Hey, it's like Christmas. Hey.
It worked.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing quite well. So, you know, I've had technology issues before, and no big deal. We'll get through it. It's Instagram. It's, you know, everything in between us, because, you know, literally we're 6 hours apart. So that's not the farthest connection I've had. I've already talked to. Yes, that's all that matters. So I've talked to people in LA, and tomorrow's going to be the big test. So I haven't actually got to talk to Dustin, who will be on tomorrow. He's in Berlin. So we've been setting this all up through email, and hopefully things work out tomorrow. So we'll see. But thank you very much for coming on tonight. I know Friday night, especially with families, that can be a busy time. But I just, you know, wanted you to come on and be able to share some of your story.
I'm happy to do it. Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. So, you know, for folks that don't know, you are a volunteer at the Gentle Barn, and you know, we're watching the stories. You want to share that story, the story you shared with me when you first saw that the cows broke loose?
Sure. So, you know, I was among a lot of people, you know, following that story. And when they got saved, you know, of course you're like, they can't go back to the slaughterhouse. Wow. And so I've been following a Gentle Barn for a long time on Facebook, and I remember thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, it would be so cool if Gentle Barn came in, you know, and they saved them. And then Gentle Barn comes in, and they're going to be the ones to save them. I'm like, what if they open a Gentle Barn in Missouri? And they're like, we're opening a Gentle Barn in Missouri. So I was like all in, 100%, and I was out there on day one building fences, and I haven't looked back.
That's fantastic. So Becky and I were fortunate enough to come out for the first time to Missouri a little over a year ago now, and we got to meet some of you volunteers, and you know, we've become very close with you guys. You and I talked about the importance of building your tribe around you, because unfortunately we are small in numbers. They're growing, and you know, social media is a huge role in this. It's important that we associate with friends that give us positive energy and positive outlook on this stuff. So it's been fantastic, and Becky and I are very fortunate to have become very close with you guys and lots of other volunteers at the other Gentle Barn locations. So
it's
we're really
so refreshing.
All you do. It is refreshing, right?
To be amongst people who understand, you know.
It makes it easy. It is. So one of the things that you and I had talked about, and I find is interesting, is that in homes that you have a dynamic that's a little bit different. So you are someone who's made that choice for yourself to become vegan and be kind to animals. So you live in a household, though, where you share that with your husband, Dave, who is a wonderful human being. But he is not there yet. So we've got a lot of work to do, right?
Right. And I think we're making progress.
I think there's lots of progress, and that's one of the things that I keep talking about, is that I want to reach out to more men to help them make that connection and start their journey. And it's different for everyone, whatever it is that makes that connection. You and I shared a little bit ago a conversation. You were sharing with me how you've always had this affinity for animals. Would you care to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you're an animal person, you're an animal person. And from as far back as I can remember, I wanted to save everybody, and, you know, anything's hopping around on, you know, a hurt leg or a hurt wing, I'm scooping them up. And, you know, it's my life, you know, I've loved them. And so I think one of the things that happened when I was little, like, I knew my dad hunted rabbit, squirrel, deer, but I never, like, anytime we went to the farm, they weren't hunting. Mm-hmm. And so I remember coming across a picture that my dad had, and it was of him with a deer that he had got hanging, and, you know, there's smiles, and everybody's, you know, kneeled down in front with their guns, and I was horrified. And it broke my heart. And I punished him. I wouldn't talk to him. I remember, like, specifically sitting around the table and saying, like, Mom, can you tell Dad, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I would not speak to him. And he ended up not hunting anymore. He stopped. And I didn't really realize the significance of that until I got older.
Sure.
It was really cool.
You know, that kind of goes to show the kindness that children are born with. And myself, you know, I had that kindness in me, but I was taught that that kindness only was extended to domestic animals, to dogs and cats and pets. As a hunter myself, you know, you talk about that picture your dad had. I've mentioned it before. One of my favorite sets of pictures that I used to have, I still have them. There's a picture of myself and my dad with a deer I killed, a picture of my dad and his dad with a deer my dad killed, and a picture of my grandpa and my great-grandpa and my great-great-grandpa with the deer that they had killed. And growing up in, you know, Missouri's not that different as far as demographics. We live in a small rural farm town in Ohio. That was really cool. Everyone thought, man, that's really neat. Now, it's cool to have a picture of my dad and myself, my grandpa and my dad, and my great-grandpa, and so on. But I wish it didn't have those things in it. However, it is a powerful reminder of where I came from. So, you know, when you have those stories, it just shows that you never know how your reaction to something impacts someone else. So at least he had the, you know, the kind heart to stop hunting because he saw the hurt that it caused his daughter.
Right, right.
Definitely, if that didn't give you chills, like when you think about that, like something's wrong with you.
Pretty special.
Yeah, it is, and I really appreciate you sharing that because that's a very private memory and something that's, you know, personal to someone. So, since you're a volunteer at the Gentle Barn, how often do you get to go out and spend time with the animals?
I've had a lot of things going on with my family and my kids recently, but I've been kind of back at it again, trying to get out every Sunday. We've had really bad weather recently, and it seems to hit on the weekends. And so it's been closed a couple times, and we haven't made it out it's happening again. We're getting snow tonight. We might get snow tomorrow night. But I was getting out there, you know, for a while in the beginning, 2 or 3 times a week, and then on the weekends too. And I had to, like, balance things back out again. I love being there. It's, you know, and I love everybody, you know, everybody there. You know, it's just a special place.
It is, and it's nice that they're literally in your own backyard. You know, Becky and I were 6 hours. Excuse me. We're 6 hours from Missouri, 6 hours from Nashville. So all of our, you know, a lot of our tribe is not close to us. So we've got Matt and Marnie all the way up in Chicago, and we've got people in Knoxville still. And
6 hours away, though, that might be a good distance for you to open a sanctuary.
I played the lottery tonight, and I can tell you what, that is the top thing on our list if
Sure.
we were to hit. That would be
Us too.
absolutely incredible to be able to do that and to be able to help support so much change coming down the road. And so, there are so many sanctuaries out there that are doing incredible work, and they need donations, but they need volunteers, they need help, they need people to share their stories and their awareness, because you don't realize, from us, there's barn sanctuaries just outside of Ann Arbor, and so we're talking 4.5 hours, which was nice. When the Gentle Barn was in Knoxville, it was about 4.5 hours from us. So they're all over the place, and I think it's important that we do all we can to support these organizations, share their stories, and hope we can make some change.
Right. Exactly.
Have you guys got to go to any other places or any other sanctuaries?
Not yet. I keep hearing you talk about Veg Fest down in Tennessee.
Down in Nashville. We got to go last year, and that was incredible. It's April 6th this year. We're gonna try to make it. It kind of depends on how things work out. We'll see what's going on. Sometimes with 7 kids, 6 of them still at home, it can be a scheduling nightmare.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've planted the seed in Dave's head. I'm like, that might be a good place. All these amazing people that I've watched on here, and all these lessons that I've learned since you started this. It's been fantastic. Yeah, I want to see these people. I want to meet Bobby and Adam, and
that would be that's where we met Bobby and Adam last year, the Sud brothers, and we really appreciate what they do. And it's so funny. I've had conversations with some of these people before, and then during just a casual conversation like you and I are having, someone will say something, and it just really hits home. Nikki, the other day, she talked about something. Nikki from Love Always Sanctuary out in California. She talked about how we all have blood on our hands. Just for some of us, it's dry. And I shared with you earlier. Yeah. And, I shared with you earlier that personally I feel that I have a little more blood on my hands because I was a hunter. And, I apologize for the things I did, but I can't change it. All I can do is use that as a tool going forward. Hey, Joanna, going forward to let other people see how changes can be made. And that's the best I can do with it. I wish, I can't change it.
You can't change it.
No, you
and
can't.
Look where you are now.
Definitely. I mean, I'm not kidding. Becky and I, we've had some pretty heated discussions about hunting prior to us starting this journey. From day one, when she and I first started talking, she was very adamant that that was not acceptable to her. But she'll be the first one to tell you that she felt like a hypocrite because she was still feeding our family, cows, chickens, and pigs. And something I'm trying to do, I want to spread a kind, gentle message, but I also want to share an honest message. And what I mean by that is when people say, "Oh, I'm eating a hamburger," no, you're eating a cow.
Right.
When I'm eating bacon, you're eating a baby pig. And there's simple language changes that you can talk about that it makes people think. If nothing else, it's not you being, you don't be rude and forceful with it, but simple as saying if someone offers you something to eat and if it has animal products in it, don't say I can't eat that, because physically you could.
Right.
Try to choose the words I won't eat that, and they'll look at you and they may ask why, and then you could explain to them kindly why, and then maybe that sparks a conversation, maybe it doesn't. So it's just something that some people decide to do when they try to
when it's the right time. I mean, we're all on different journeys, and it happens at the right time, that it's supposed to. And I try to use my Facebook. I'm always reposting things, and I try not to get too graphic and gory with the stuff, but I have moments where it's just it's upsetting, and sometimes it makes me mad, and I've had people be offended, and I'm like, I'm sorry that you're offended, but how do you think these animals feel? Like, this is, you have to check yourself. The least you can do is bear witness to what you're paying for. I mean, and it's hard for us. Like, I don't want to see that stuff, but when I went vegetarian like 20 years ago, I had Googled slaughterhouse one day, and I spent the whole day crying my eyes out. I had no idea. And I called Dave and I was like, that's it. I'm never eating meat again, ever. And he, snickered. And because, we were barbecue in the backyard and, all of that. And I was like, I'm done. I can't, it's like I knew it, but now I saw it, and you can't unsee it. That's it, and 20 years later, I've been vegan 2 years. So it took me a while to kind of figure the whole thing out. Somebody said the other day, talking about earthlings, boy, that was a hard one. I needed to see it, but there's some stuff that it's burned in my mind, and I'll never unsee it, but it's real, and it's what's happening.
I think that is important to see that, and I think it's important though not to focus on that, because
right.
Becky and I are a little different. I can see that stuff. I can deal with it. I can handle it, and then I can use it as a tool. Becky, it breaks her down. It hurts her so much, so emotionally, and that's because we are different, and we're all different in this journey. And,
right.
and man, it can be so powerful when you see what's going on. Like you said, you can't unsee it. And I think I try to be kind and compassionate, but at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I have to do to defend animals, defend my family. And,
right.
There's I see a little quote every once in a while. Someone will post on a meme and it says, "Do no harm, but take no shit." And that's absolutely right. Right. I'm going to practice being kind and compassionate, but don't take that kindness for weakness, because I assure you, that's not a problem.
Right.
I think most vegans feel that same exact way. They have that kind heart, and they want to extend that not just to animals, but to their human relationships.
Right.
And but sometimes, man, when you piss us off,
right.
look at
like I don't bring it up, but like I don't try to ruin parties, and like I can be, I am pretty respectful, but if somebody wants to start talking about it and challenge some of the ideas of it, I'm not buying it. And usually by the time it's over, they're like, we shouldn't have done that.
They let's see, who was it? I don't know. It was Bobby. Bobby said today, posted a picture. It was of Bill Murray and a quote. He said, let me think what it was. It's difficult to win an argument with an intelligent person, but it's almost impossible to win an argument with a stupid person. So, which is funny. But if you think about it, there are times when you have to know that, there are folks, and I used to be one of them. I was guilty as all hell. Close-minded, won't listen. I will be the first to admit I probably at some point have made fun of vegans back in the day. Again, I can't change it, but I'm not going to hide it either. There are people who won't listen to what we have to say, and there's some people that just, they want to be mean and say certain things, and there's a point where you got to know that I'm going to chalk this one up, and I'm going to carry on.
It's not worth it. And I feel like I'm trying to reach when I'm talking about it, or when I'm posting things. I'm trying to reach those people who, they do have compassionate hearts, and they do love animals, and they just don't realize, like they're kind of floating in that space, and those are the people I want. Like there's hope that they're gonna get it, and that's who I'm going after. And I've had people, like, a lot of times it's crickets on the posts that I put on my page. Everybody wants to talk about everything else, funny things, but I put something like that up, and that's almost like they don't want to acknowledge it, because they're acknowledging that they know, but they're okay with it, and
they want to keep the blinders on and live in their little safe
right.
space. And, they don't want to rock the boat, but what they don't realize is they're rocking the boat by supporting these industries. Between the medical issues it causes yourself. I had a conversation with one of my daughters the other day about cigarettes. I don't understand how someone would start smoking today with all the knowledge that we have. And so I heard someone respond to the rebuttal of, bacon is a level 1 carcinogen, according to the World Health Organization, just like cigarettes are. So someone brought up the exact same point that, well, some people can smoke every day of their life, 4 packs a day until they're 95 years old and never have cancer. That's fine, but would you still risk it? I don't know why some people still do. So it's funny that they don't want to hear it, but they're going to know about it one way or the other.
Well, they don't believe it. I think there's people who literally don't believe it. Like, you know, for the longest time, we were fed all of this, you know, BS. And and there was a time when people just believed. You believed what your doctor said. You believed what your government said. And you just, that was it. And I think that that time is over. And you question everything. That's what I teach my kids. Question everything.
I think it's important to ask those questions. And, you know, I felt completely lied to. I used to drink a gallon of milk a day. That's not an exaggeration. I wrestled all through high school. I'd come home. Yeah, you need strong bones, right? And unfortunately, when you find out that if the United States has the highest level of dairy consumption, why do we have the highest levels of osteoporosis? You know, you would think that. Say that again?
That's not a coincidence.
No, it's not. And if you look at the science behind it, there's a term for it, but there's something when you drink cow's milk, your body actually extracts calcium from your bones to combat. It's either a protein or something. I forget exactly what it is, but there's a scientific reason behind why actually drinking dairy is bad for us and why it does exactly the opposite of what they say it's for. So. And then, you know, when you find out what's going on in the dairy industry, you can't, you know, I couldn't support it anymore. Becky and I, we went vegetarian initially for about a year and a half. And then when we went vegan, is because we finally figured out and saw all the information about what's going on in the dairy industry. And just, couldn't be a part of it anymore.
It's horrifying. I mean, you can't really say that one's worse than the other. I mean, you know, I don't know, a creature that, I feel like anything, if you're lucky enough to arrive in this place on this planet, I mean, you should have a right to experience it and live it. You know, it's just so frustrating. You know, you look into their eyes, and every single one of those animals has a personality and wants to be here. And it's just not fair that, you know, like they don't count, but they should count.
They absolutely should. And once you make that connection, for me, it was Dudley. And making that connection with him, I realized that he wants to play and be loved on just as my dog does. And once you break down that barrier that, you know, I love animals, not just pets, it really is transforming, and it's eye-opening, and I have enjoyed this journey immensely.
Right. Absolutely. Me too.
There are some days it can be difficult, but thankfully, you know, between social media and our tribe that we're building, we really appreciate all the people that are in our lives. And that's kind of, you know, that's the preface of why I did this little series. And that's why I asked you to come on tonight, because I appreciate what you do. It's not easy to put yourself out there day in, day out, and put your story out there trying to get other people to wake up, because there are so many people that just don't listen. Becky tonight, she said, you know, the hardest thing about this is caring so much and being surrounded by people who could care less.
Right.
And she's absolutely right. It's it can be
it's overwhelming, you know, when you think about it and you look at the big picture, you know, you feel like it's almost impossible. And then I have to rein myself in, and it's like, today, what can I do today? Who can I encourage today? You know, I've had people private message me and literally say that they're going to stop eating meat. And one person, you know, just one person, if that's all I can change, then I've done what I need to do, because maybe that person's going to tell people, and, you know, it's going to spread. It is spreading. I thought when I went vegan, I thought at first it was just me, because I was aware that I was just noticing like all of this vegan stuff going on. And then I was like, oh, wait, this is not just me. I'm like, this is a lot of people, and there's a lot of things happening. It's like a beautiful time to be vegan.
And it's growing exponentially. You look at companies like Tyson. Nobody wants to support Tyson, but even Tyson is supporting plant-based protein that they're working on, because it's a corporation. I get it. I don't have a problem with it. They're driven by dollars.
Right.
So
And
they can see that this is happening. It's going to change. And we have to keep encouraging people. We have to keep waking people up, and we have to keep supporting companies that are making changes. And, there are lots of amazing products out there, and it's been fantastic to try some wonderful vegan junk food and some delicious things. But from my standpoint, we've eaten so much vegan junk food that I definitely need some whole food plant-based in my life so I can combat some of that too. But, you were talking about something. You said if you could only change one person, it's totally worth it. When Bobby Sudd was on the other day, he was talking about people ask him why he continually goes to these vigils, because it's not going to make a difference. And he said, because it's the right thing to do. And to me, man, that sums it up. Like, I tend to be black and white on lots of things. It's either right or it's wrong. It's either kind or it's not. And, there's no question when it comes to this. Right.
Well, it reminds me of how I heard somebody speaking, and it's somebody who's well known, and I'm horrible with names, but making the analogy of, if you put there's a child in a playpen and you put an apple and a bunny in there, what's that child going to eat? And what's that child going to play with? Like, we're born, like with that emotional attachment to others and to animals, and we're taught to disconnect and to look the other way. Like, and it's not anybody's fault. I mean, the industries work really, really hard to.
Yes, they do.
To make it real easy.
They make it very hard, so you can't see what's going on. I'm trying to think who it was. Somebody had said that if slaughterhouses had glass walls.
Yeah, Paul McCartney. Right.
You wouldn't support that, and I think it's a powerful message. And hopefully by the stuff that you do, being a volunteer and, sharing things on your page and talking to people when you get the opportunity, I think we are making a difference and making headway in this movement. So, Angie, I really appreciate you taking the time tonight. Tell Dave and the kids we said hey, and we will definitely have to get out and see you guys sometime soon. But I just wanted to bring you on and give you a few minutes to, vent a little bit, share your story a little bit, and hopefully something we say here touches somebody and help someone else make that connection, make a difference.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. This has been fabulous. I've loved every second of it, and I'm totally tuned in.
You're very welcome. And I really appreciate, this has been challenging getting so many different people's schedules lined up and in order and together. Right. But it's been worth every minute of it, because I think that everyone brings something different to share their message. And while there's no doubt we all have the same goal in mind, your presentations are a little different, your wording is a little different, but you never know how what you just said tonight is going to touch somebody else.
Right.
So thank you very much. Yes, it does. And, I really appreciate that. That story about your dad no longer hunting, that one hits home to me very hard. And I really appreciate you sharing that with everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Angie, we'll see you later. Till Dave, we said hey.
Bye.
Bye.